This may just be me, but I don't think that meaningless hookup culture sex is as enjoyable as people make it out to be. Now, what I mean by that is I think that intimacy between a guy and a gal can be one of the most, emotional and spiritual connections that you can have with another human being. But the truth is that I think you need precursors to make it work and stick and repeatable. And the truth is that you cannot really get that, from some guy or gal you met at a bar or a club. It just doesn't really work. Even individuals who, routinely meet up with each other, for like convenience sake, like friends with benefits or hookup buddies or whatever the term is, because they have familiarity with each other, they're able to connect, okay, even if they're cognitively distancing themselves from the fact that they are connecting with each other, even if it is, under agreement between both the parties, just for now, because, they want to have these activities and have access to them regularly, but they don't want to get into a serious relationship, and my thought process is I have determined that unless the sex comes with, an actual connection with another human being, like something that is pure, not innocent, but something that's real and sincere, I'm just not interested. I just don't care anymore. Like the same way you get exhausted with just, junk food, right? It doesn't matter how good it tastes in the moment, because you feel terrible afterwards. And you're always going to feel terrible afterwards. The very moment it's down your throat, you feel like crap, with junk food. I'll use an example like Little Debbie's, oatmeal cream pies, Nutty Buddies. These were my childhood junk foods. And they're my adult cope foods. They're what I use to cope with how life can be pretty unforgiving very often. And I'll use them, when I have just had too much and I say, you know what, fuck it. I want to feel good and life sucks right now and I need a quick escape, but you always regret it. And I have a feeling that short-term sexual gratification is no different, and people would probably say, I would imagine people would actually agree with me. If I was like having an actual conversation with another human being about the nature and the dynamics of sex between men and women, I think everyone would tend to agree with me, because what's more enjoyable? Like, actually ask yourself this question. What's better? Okay? You grow up in a small town, you meet somebody through a friend. You keep seeing each other, you keep talking to each other, you have the same friend groups. One day you guys go out together, you get to know each other, you talk to each other, you begin to understand each other as human beings. And then when you finally do have sex, you have all of that culminating, all of that tension building up. And then before you know it, it's been 20 years and you've been with each other the entire time. No one else. No awkward getting up in the morning and, oh, I gotta go to work, I'll never see you again type conversations. No, oh, hey, maybe we can do this again sometime. And what that really means is maybe we can hook up another time and have another low tension, no strings attached situation. Like these things are, I can't imagine that they're enjoyable. They're enjoyable probably in the same way that junk food's enjoyable. It feels great in the moment, I'm sure. I'm sure it does. But I can't help but think that you probably just feel terrible afterwards. And I think that it leaves a lot of guys, actually kind of feeling a little bit disdained with the whole idea of sex. Which is why I think we have so many men who look at women and say, I couldn't give more of a shit about this. I don't care. And I'm not saying that that's inherently a good thing. I don't. I still believe that men and women are fundamentally better off together, and they are going to be more content, resilient, and long-lasting as a pair than ever as individuals. But unfortunately, the society I live in has been manufactured to make men and women hate each other and to despise each other and to laugh and gawk at the idea of a lifelong, monogamous, exclusive relationship, which, again, there's so many things that you can enjoy in that kind of relationship. And before you say, well, you've never been in one, maybe, but I have basic pattern recognition. I've got a simple understanding of logic. Like here's a crazy one for the guy's perspective, especially. When you're a guy and you're going out into the world, you have to constantly worry about people's perspective about you. There's a whole culture, meant to shoot men down in the foot socially about how, men don't know how to say, or men don't know the word no. They don't understand the word no. I was watching a short earlier today about it, and I was just like, fuck you. Of course I understand what the term no means. Of course I understand when somebody doesn't want something. In fact, I'm hyper fixated on trying to understand if somebody doesn't want something. Because my greatest and deepest and darkest fear is finding out that I did something that nobody wanted me to do. That's literally one of my biggest concerns as a man and as a human being. Imposing my will upon somebody who didn't want whatever it is happened, So whenever I see those videos, obviously it gets me riled up a little bit emotionally, but men understand the term no. And believe it or not, most guys don't like the idea of a dynamic between themselves and a lady where the lady doesn't want to have an enjoyable relationship, okay? As far as I know, at least, for myself, most definitely. I feel repulsed if a lady doesn't want me. And not repulsed like disgusted, but more like the idea of trying to have intimacy with somebody who didn't also want to be intimate with me. I just find it repulsive. And there's a reason for that, I think. Kind of losing my train of thought here a little bit, but what I'm trying to get at is that I think the reason men just get so burnt up with the whole idea of sex, and they say sex isn't that great, is because they have never actually been in a lifelong monogamous relationship where they understand their wife and their wife understands them, and you guys completely know each other's boundaries, you know what each other likes, and you do it for each other. And really, that's what it is. I don't think sex is about getting something. It's about giving. I want to know that someone's satisfied with me, that they're happy, not some like existential happiness, but like you're pleased. That's what I have always thought about when it has come to sex, okay? That's still a big fundamental reason that I take care of myself and that I'm healthy and that I eat right and I go out and get sun and I contemplate these things, That's a big reason because I understand part of being pleasant to your spouse is by taking care of your body and being appealing. Because when you are not taking care of yourself and you're deliberately making yourself repulsive, in a way, you're denying and depriving your spouse of intimacy because you make your body repulsive to them. And that's a pretty crazy loophole that I think,
women have found out today that they're able to take advantage of. And you know, I think they enjoy taking advantage of it because getting fat is nice. Or at least, you know, the process of getting fat is nice, right? We all love eating our sweets and our ice cream and our pasta and our chocolate candy bars, but I mean, it kills us. You pay for every single carb, every single gram of carbohydrate that gets into your body exogenously. I'm kind of convinced you pay for. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts. I don't think anyone's ever had real sex, or at least the overwhelming majority of men and women have not. All they have had is prepubescent, short-term, immediate sexual gratification. That's all men and women have experienced, I think, for the majority of the last 80 years, because we've all got it all backwards about how to be pleasing and about how to be pleasant and about how we should, you know, enjoy each other. I think we've got it all backwards, you know. But those are just some of my morning thoughts, and I've decided to take YouTube a little bit more seriously, so I'm gonna try and upload a video every day. If you watched, I appreciate that. If you want to leave a like or a comment, go for it. But yeah.